Hi, it's Jake, aka Loco Skates, and welcome to our new YouTube setup here at the shop. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a while, but in the meantime we're going to rush this video out because we've just received the new Ground Control HD60 and HD72mm frames. It's very exciting. They're aluminium aggressive skate frames and they come in a whole matrix of different options. So if we give you an above angle, you can see this isn't all of them laid out, but you can see here they've got a 72mm version which houses 72mm wheels and a 60mm version which houses 60s, although I did hear that you can put 62s in there and they will fit apparently, which is good news for some people. So in the 72s they come in 3 sizes, small, medium, large, and in the 60 they come in 4 sizes, small, medium, large, extra large. That size refers just to the length of the frame, nothing else. And then in both those styles you can get either in just a silver color or you can get them in a black anodized color. And then within that, each frame comes with the option of a aluminium block or a plastic block, H block. So they come in the packet with the frames. So you've got all sorts of different styles and different ways of setting them up going on there. I think they were able to do that because with a metal frame you don't have to produce a mold like you do with a plastic product. So I imagine they managed to get away with not having to set up so many different molds. I imagine it's cheaper like that. The frame in itself is £130, so it's quite expensive, although still not as expensive as the Sola frame. We'll get onto that comparison in a minute. But in the meantime, let's just measure some of the dimensions here. So the big one is the distance between the 2 middle wheels. How wide are they? It doesn't differ between sizes. They're always the same, the bolts in the middle, no matter what size they are. So they're 11.4 centimeters is the distance between there. And that is also the same on a 72mm frame, 11.4. And then if we get a Sola here, and we can compare it to the Sola frame, that is also 11.2 actually on the Sola, so like a couple of mil difference, but very small difference. So the Ground Control is slightly larger split. And then the other frame we can compare them to is the Kizer Element 2. That's the other aluminium frame on the market at the moment. It's a bit different because it's taller, this frame, because it fits larger wheels on the outside. So they're able to split the bolts up further because it's higher, it's further away from the UFS bolts. And that split is actually around just shy of 13 centimeters, so much bigger on the Kizers, but then you're higher in ride height. And then the height as well. So the HD60, I guess the right thing to do would be to measure from the top of the frame to the middle of the bolt, because that's going to define how high you are off the ground, regardless of what wheel size you're using. So the Ground Controls are 3.2 centimeters in height, and the Solas are about 3 centimeters in height. So a couple of millimeter lower on the Sola frames. Not really worth measuring that because there's all sorts of different options going on. Yeah, they're just short of 4 centimeters in height, those. So Sola's lowest, then Ground Control, then the Kizer Element 2s. The other thing to test would be weight, I guess. The Ground Control feels quite heavy because they've got quite thick frame walls. So if we just put these on a scale, bring this down. Alright, so the GC, this is a size small GC, saying 409 grams. The Sola, 311 grams. So a whole 100 grams different. That is quite a lot. Sola's quite a lot lighter, and the Kizer Element 2 frames, 382 grams. So they're in between. That brings us on nicely to the construction here. So you'll notice when you compare these to the Solas that they have thicker frame walls on them. This here. Now, it depends what way you look at it, but maybe the thicker walls, they're a little bit more like a modern style of grinding, I think, because you're used to a plastic frame these days, and so it kind of sticks out more, so you get less sole space, but then you don't have to bend your foot over so much on top sides. It kind of it has the feeling of a top side without having to go all the way over, whereas a Sola you really have to commit to that top side. So that may be a thing that you like or you don't like. Either way, you might want to make it easier for yourself on top sides with these. I mean, I do like the way the Sola frames are really thin and simple, and yet they maintain their strength. But the ground control, so I think what the overriding thing here is that the ground controls are quite different. They're going to be quite different in the way they skate to the Sola. So it's not like an exact copy. It's going to be a whole new experience. So you might just find you prefer one over the other. You should try it out. They've got this extruded kind of part of the frame here to try and bring the weight down a little bit. They are still quite heavy. 2 bolts there holding on the H block, so it'll be nice and sturdy. And the bolts go straight into the other side of the frame like this, so you won't need two Allen keys to undo them. The finish is very nice. The other thing that I would say about these, and this is the same for the Sola frames in black too, is they will scratch off on the black version, the anodized finish. Once you start grinding on them, it will come off. I did notice that the ground controls do tend to like chip quite easily, even just out of the box. There's a few little marks on the black version, so if you are a little bit pernickety about how your frames look, then you might want to go for the silver version instead. They all come in a silver version. So they're £130, which is about $170 US or 155 euros. So they do come with 2 H blocks with them, so it's quite good value in terms of what you get in the packet, and they're still a little cheaper than the Sola frames too, but not quite as cheap as the kind of £90–100 for the Kizer Element 2 frames. They're available from right now, and you can also buy the H blocks separately too. Come in 2 different colours also. Like I say, we're trying to step up our game a bit with the YouTube right now. We've built this little area so that we can just kind of sit down, press record and film and have it in a good quality without messing about. Hopefully that will allow us to put out lots more videos. So I know everyone says, yeah, subscribe. Do actually subscribe, hit the button, hit the little bell so you get notifications as well. We'll only notify you when it's an interesting video. We don't notify you on all videos. And yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.